Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming back to my YouTube channel. I haven't been here in a while, but we're back at it, October strong. And I'm trying something new today with like my camera angles and kind of like figuring it out. So let me know if you like this video more or if you like older videos more. Basically, I am doing a recording on Zoom and I'm sharing my screen, but then I'm recording and sharing that like the Zoom presentation. So I wanted to give it a try because I was like, maybe it'll work better. So yes, let's get right into it. As you can see, I already have my charts open. This is gonna be new for me because like the camera's over here and then my computer's right here. So I'm gonna try to look up throughout it, but just bear with me. We're trying something new. All right. So today, what a day. Oh my gosh, today was NFP and it was crazy. I mean, we had a very nice downward move, but now we are almost at the high of Monday. Maybe not almost, but we're almost at the top of the new week opening gap, which is pretty crazy considering it's Friday and today is basically moved the most amount of pips all week. We haven't broken a the low of the week, but we might break the high of the week. I mean, it's almost 2 p.m. now, so almost the afternoon session. But anyways, let's just hop right into it, get to the good stuff. Am I right? All right. So this is just kind of what I was looking at, and then of course my trade that I did take this morning. So as we can see on the daily chart, I have this leftover fair value gap from the daily chart on my chart. We did trade to it a couple times. We had traded to it on Tuesday, Wednesday. Look at the Thursday, just traded to the bottom of it, and then of course today taking out Thursday's low. I'll zoom in on that so you guys can see. As you can see, look, we took out Thursday's low, didn't quite take out the weekly low, but we did take out yesterday's low and then of course traded much higher. So when I was doing my analysis, I kind of assumed that I honestly believe that we might take out the weekly low, but when you're trading, you kind of want to be nimble and you're never too set on a certain side. So I told myself, like, let's see how it plays out. Let's see how 9:30 to 10 is. And then, of course, 10 to 11 will take a trade if a trade setup forms. So just the daily, I didn't want to see it go back into the weekly volume imbalance, but it has, and it did go back into the weekly fair value gap, which I mean is crazy. So let's look at the 1 week really quick. So the reason I didn't want it to do that was because we have this gap here, but I wanted to see a close below it. So we had a solid candle through that gap. But considering we didn't get a solid candle through that gap, yeah, it's still a little bit early to tell, but I mean, the fact that we don't have it and it's Friday, that just says to me that we're either going to be consolidating next week or potential retracement move back into this weekly fair value gap, or we're just going to be kind of just staying in this weekly fair value gap area, weekly volume imbalance area. So yeah, that's why I didn't want to see it there, but I'm glad. I mean, it's nice that it did go there. That's a good run, right? So let's go down to 1 hour. All right. So imagine this wasn't here because, I do my analysis at 9 a.m. Maybe I'll even do a live one at 9 a.m. Like this is pretty easy. Like this is pretty straightforward to do with the Zoom. And I can do it as I'm making the analysis. Anyways. So of course we come up, we take out these daily relative equal highs here. very very subtly, but it's there. This happens at 6 a.m. So right before the news release at 8:30 a.m. And then of course the news release was at 8:30. So we can see the market just tank. The market tanks. We trade back into this daily fair value gap area, taking out these New York AM session lows, trading into this 1 hour fair value gap. But we do not go lower than the weekly low, and we stop at this 1 hour order block right here. Yeah, we have a little bit of wickage, but the fact that we didn't close here and we didn't move too far from the daily fair value gap, and we just took out a significant area of sell side liquidity, I was like, okay, like let's see what happens, but we could potentially maybe see buys. Now, I did do a lot of digging this morning, but it was more just like watching the markets and like seeing it, if that makes sense. I'll show you on the 5-minute chart. So again, this is just the 15-minute chart. We came up, took out these daily relative equal highs very subtly, and then traded back down, had this volume imbalance here on the 15-minute time frame, but then we just had this mega down close candle, shoot for the races, and we traded back down into this daily fair value gap, taking out this daily low, and of course this New York AM session lows right there. Okay, and then we traded higher, but we also left this huge opening range gap right here. This black square is what I use to measure out the opening range gap. How you look for that is you go down here to where it says ETH, you click it, you press regular trading hours, and now it gives us our regular trading hours. So as you can see, look at this gap right here. I mean, that's huge, you know? So I was kind of like, maybe we'll trade into the gap. You know, I don't know if we're going to continue lower. And then I was just kind of getting all these thoughts. But I did have it marked out just in case we were going to trade into it. And you should always have these things marked out on your charts. Okay. Now the 5 minutes where it gets more interesting, because like I said, like I was more prone to sells. I wanted to see the weekly low get taken out before we made a retracement move, but I'm not going to do anything until I see a trade set up, essentially. But I'm just observing the market until I get a trade set up. So I noticed that we had this 5-minute fair value gap. I measured it out in time, and I just wanted to see like what the market was doing. Like, could it be used as an inversion fair value gap? Like, what is going on? And then I also had the bottom of this order block here. And then as you can see, the market was respecting it. We had a break lower, came back up, respected it again. I was like, okay, like either we're going to be selling now or we're not, essentially. What I'm looking for now is a displacement lower if we're selling. I wanted to see like a fast candle off of that area, leave a fair value gap, create a displacement, create a break of structure, something to tell me that we're selling. But we also had this daily fair value gap just below it. So I was kind of watching both, kind of seeing, okay, like we did take out these lows. We did have a run, a really big run. I don't know if we're going to go lower, but I'm just like watching. Anyways, look, we came down, and then right here, you see this candle? 10:20 a.m. Look at that. We came down to the daily fair value gap low perfectly. Like, that is a perfect delivery right there. And seeing that, and then seeing this expansion higher, totally breaking this fair value gap, completely breaking this order block's low, closing above the body of this order block, and the fact that it was like a fast run, like displacement candle. This is what I would call a displacement candle. And we were looking for something like that on the sell side. Now, my targets were, okay, look, this is 825, 830 was the news. If somebody shorted during the NFP, where would their stop losses be? Like, where are they putting their stop losses to protect their shorts in case it goes longer? Well, obviously, it's going to be right up here. So I put a horizontal line, labeled it buy side liquidity, and that was my target. I was like, okay, if we're gonna take out buy side liquidity, we're like, where's the next buy side liquidity? Sure, we had this area. Yes, we had the fill of the opening range gap potentially, but this area was what I was really looking at. I was like, okay, there is sell stops or buy stops resting above there. The market is going to try to go for these buy stops. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't think we would trade all the way up into this freaking new week opening gap. Like, that is amazing. Don't get me wrong. Like, that is amazing. But I was not expecting that. I was like, we're going to just like come up here and hang out and then break lower. No. And that's what I mean. Like, you can be wrong, but you can be right. You could be right, but you could be wrong. So the market's funny. Anyways, so we traded higher. And then I was waiting for a setup. So my setup is, we have the break of structure, break of structure right here. We have the displacement, right? We have our draw on liquidity, right? We're waiting for that fair value gap to enter in to our trades. Like, when my trade setup is, I make sure that I enter into a fair value gap when it's coming down, go for buys to my buy side liquidity if we're long. So I was actually watching all of this happen, like these candles, all of this. I was like, okay, come back down, come back down, come back down. I also watched on the 1 minute. But what's funny on the 1 minute is it was the same thing. It was like a fast market. So of course we know that, like, this area, we're like, okay, it's taking off now. Boom, displacement run right here. That is a beautiful example of the displacement run. And a break of market structure. So we had the break of market structure. We also broke all these PD arrays. So we know that the market's in a buy program now. I was waiting for this 1 minute fair value gap to be traded down into, but as you can see, we just missed it by a hair. And I was not chasing the market. So I was like, okay, let's wait. We came. Now, if we look too, like, we have this 1 minute fair value gap, and look at it though. We're just hit it barely. Like, if you have an order limit there, like, that's not getting filled. Okay. Yeah, we had the small one, but I don't know. I was like, okay, we filled the opening range gap. Now I'm just kind of waiting. We had this run. We had a run on sell stops right here. And then, of course, another break higher. But the cool thing was, on the 5 minute chart, we actually can see that even though it's a little bit higher than we wanted. Sorry, 1 second. Where's my thing? Even though it's a little bit higher than we wanted, we can still safely say that our 5-point stop loss is underneath this candle, and it hasn't hit our ultimate draw on liquidity, which of course is the buy stops resting above this high. So I took the trade on the 5 minute fair value gap, with the exception that I could be wrong. This market could be going against me, and that's okay. I would take this trade any day. Like, that's okay. I'm okay with the outcome. Either it's a win or a loss, I'm okay with the outcome. And I mean, we did end up having a win today, which was nice. So we did trade higher into these buy stops, and then we continued to move higher into now the new week opening gap, basically the high, and back into the volume imbalance and the fair value gap. And that just means, like, for next week, I don't really know, like, what's our plan? Are we going to be trading in those levels again? Are we going to be going higher now? Like, are we still moving lower? I don't know. So it's a little bit confusing for next week, but it is nice to see that the trade played out, and yeah, we got to enter on a 5-minute fair value gap, which is my favorite time frame to enter on. I still do look for the 1-minute setups, but I find like it's easier and you can just see more and the market's clearer to me. So I love entering on the 5-minute chart, on the 5-minute fair value gap. So yes, we did take this trade. We did document our emotions, our feelings, and the fact that we are continuing to go higher is crazy. So I took this trade at 10:55. I think it was like 10:58 when it finally came into the fair value gap. But that's what I mean, like ICT silver bullets from 10 to 11. You could enter that trade at the very last 5 minutes. And look, we did get to enter that trade at the very last 5 minutes. So rules are rules. Like I can't enter this one. Like that's 11:15. Like that's past my time to trade. So yeah, it was cool that it's set up, and I'm personally am proud of this trade, and I think I'm just getting to become a better and better trader every day. And yeah, I'm just grateful for my experience and grateful to be back on YouTube. And I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and let me know if you like the Zoom call kind of feel, kind of vibes. Do you like this more than what I was doing before? Is the audio better? Is the video better? Let me know in the comments. Please, I would love to know. And you can expect more from me because I finally made the decision that I'm only going to be trading the morning session. I'm not trading the afternoon session anymore, because 80% of your results comes from 20% of your work. And that is the morning session for me. And I find that in the afternoon session, the afternoon session is just not for me. And I think I could do better with my time, better use with my time. So in the afternoons, I'll be making YouTube videos. I'll be studying ICT content. I'll be back testing. I'll be reading. So the mornings is where it's at for me. And other than that, yeah, you should see me around more. So let me know if you like this video in the comments. Let me know what you think about the new setup. And yeah, I will see you all soon. Thank you guys so much for joining. Bye now.